Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Building a Nation with Team Canada. And today we have for you the end of season review for 2024. Now, we still have a little bit of unfinished business, so it's not quite the end of the season, but it's end of regular season for MLS, and it's end of anything sort of important for Team Canada, at least the senior team. And honestly, that's where I want to start today. Let's take a look at the national team and see what we've got going on there. So this year has been kind of a skip year. It's been nothing but friendlies. We've had no competitions whatsoever this year. Well, I guess we had one at the beginning of the year. We had Nations League. And as you can see from our schedule, it's been a pretty bad year. It's a transitional year, I suppose. Having a lot of newer players, a lot of younger players making their way into the lineup. A lot of the older veteran star players, most importantly, Borgen, our goalkeeper, has left. Guys like Arfield and Tibert and a lot of those type of players have left the team, or at least, gotten too old, and we're trying to find replacements for those important guys, and it didn't go very well for much of the year. We lost to Cyprus in a friendly. That sort of was an ill omen for the rest of the season. Our only competition was Nations League, lost to USA and Jamaica in the semifinals and the third place playoff game. That was no good. And then we lost a couple of friendlies to China and Ivory Coast. Started feeling really bad. But then things started to pick up a little bit. Played Ukraine. They're a pretty decent team. Look at this friendly here. You look at their players. They've got some pretty decent players there. Matvienko, 74 million. Zinchenko, 55 million, 54 million, and on and on and on. So they're a pretty talented team, or at least a pretty high-value team coming out of the Ukraine. 31st in the world. Now, I feel bad because we've played these sorts of teams very tightly in the past, and we played them very well, and we played Ukraine pretty well. Lost to them 2-1. And, it was one of those things where we tied it up. They scored early, we tied it up early, and then 57th minute Ukraine came in and scored, and there wasn't much we could do about it after that. Tried to go attacking, didn't really work. And then we went to Costa Rica, and, one of our old favorites played against them and beat them 2-0. Anunye and Timoteo with a couple of goals. That was fine and dandy. So that got us off the schneid. It got our first win in many, many months. And, it came out okay. And then these later friendlies, right now, there's not a lot we can do. There's not many teams we can play because everybody's trying to qualify for the World Cup. But we don't have to qualify for the World Cup because we're already in. So we can take a look at Costa Rica, take a look at their schedule here, and you can see they're in World Cup qualifying right now. Beat Haiti, drew with Guatemala. They're in Group C. We can take a look at this. We can take a look at all the groups here in the third round. And it's an interesting sort of round because if you'll notice, there's some big names missing here. USA, Mexico, Canada. None of us have to qualify for World Cup because we're already in. Hey, get out of here. World Cup qualifiers. Look at that. USA, Canada, Mexico. All three of us are in. And that's cool. I mean, we love that for sure. But it begs the question, what's going on here with North American qualifying? Because I looked at the rules for the stage here. Well, there's second round. Look at the third round. All groups. Top team qualifies for the World Cup. Best two teams in second position qualify for World Cup playoff. So does that mean that 3 teams from North America are going to qualify and then 2 more teams are going to have a chance to qualify for World Cup? That's a possibility of 7 North American teams playing in the World Cup. That seems excessive. I'm going to be honest with you. So I don't really know what's happening here with this qualification. but we'll see pretty soon. I think they're gonna finish up with this group in a couple of months, and then we'll be able to see who qualifies or not. So it's wacky times right now. We have no idea how this World Cup is gonna pan out. But anyway, we played a couple of more sort of, easy friendlies. India was the toughest team we could come across, and we beat them 5-0. Basically, India, they're a loadable nation, so we had them loaded. They had a full team, beat them pretty good. They had an own goal in the first minute to sort of start things off pretty bad, and then Jackson Amell with a pair, Rocco and Cavallini finished it off. So, not a lot to look at there, but our other teams have been also playing. Under 23s, this was a strange one. South Africa, of course, everybody's getting ready for the Olympics. So the South African under 23s played a game, and we lost to them. I was very downhearted about this one because we brought in a pretty good team. I thought we brought in, a pretty strong team, a very Vancouver-esque team. If you look at this is almost like Vancouver's B team here. Lemire, former Vancouver player. Stankovic, Colin, Senior, Rosalind, Marples, Ahmed. All those are Vancouver players. DeAngelis, playing over in Europe right now. Thomas, of course, playing for Vancouver. Berg, former Vancouver player. And Eric, out on loan right now from Vancouver. So it's like, what was that? 9 of the 11? 8 of the 11 are all Vancouver players right now. So that's, a little disheartening that we lost to South Africa. But South Africa played pretty well. And currently, the under 23s made the Olympics. Look at that. They made Group D, so we can take a look at the Olympics and see how things went. Argentina, big winner. Matches and results here. Yeah, it's a little difficult to see the pyramid for these Olympics. Let me see if we can view the stage. Not current season. 2024. That's the semifinals. Let's see if we can go all the way back to the quarterfinals. All right, so we'll start. Do we need to see this? Do we want to see this? Do we want to see all groups? Italy, France, Mexico knocked out early. Portugal, Argentina, Germany, USA knocked out by the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So that's a big upset there. Germany also in their group. Brazil and Sweden. There's South Africa. They were knocked out. So both these teams, well, China's senior team beat us. South Africa's under 23s beat us, and they were not able to move on. So that's unfortunate. Then we can take a look. There we go. So Brazil beat Congo on penalties. France, Brazil went on to take Argentina, and Argentina wins it 1-0 after Argentina beat Germany and Italy. So there's your under 23 winners, of the Olympic Games. Brazil gets the silver medal. So Argentine fans, yes, there we go. They're going to be excited about that one, hopefully. So that's kind of the state of our national team, is just a bunch of friendlies. Now, the under 20s, they do have an actual competition coming up. They've got the North American Under 20 Championships in November. It's currently October 19th, so not too long before they're going to be playing in these Under 20 Championships. And they've had a fine time of it. They've been undefeated this year. So we got a little bit of hope for the Under 20s, and we'll see what they can do. We'll come back and we'll sort of follow this competition, at least go through it and show some of the games and whatnot. So now we'll switch over to Vancouver. End of the season. We'll take a look at our competitions. Major League Soccer. We did make the playoffs. Take a look at the Western Conference here. We finished 5th in the Western Conference. 34 games. We had 14 wins, 11 draws, 9 losses, total of 53 points, and a plus 15 goal differential. So an okay season. Sort of a middle-of-the-road season. Not good, not bad, just sort of okay. And honestly, from my point of view, it was up and down. we went on some good stretches, and then we went on some bad stretches, and I couldn't really figure this team out, unfortunately. It's just, I don't know, whatever, they didn't have the chemistry. They didn't have the mojo that I like. So I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. Too many changes in the lineup, probably. Too many people in and out because of, Champions League and international duty and injuries and whatnot. We couldn't get anything going. And if you look at our schedule, you can see we did pretty good at the beginning of the year. 1 loss in the first month. And then we hit a bad stretch in the middle of the year. And then, of course, the Canadian Championship got us right, where we beat Toronto. You saw that. That's probably the last game you saw, was us beating Toronto for the Canadian Championship. And that put us on a little run, a pretty nice little streak. We finished out July without a loss, August without a loss, and then September we hit another pothole, little road block. We beat San Jose 2-1. It's kind of our best win in that group. Faria and Venuto. Venuto on the penalty gets the winner. I don't know, we can watch some goals just for fun, just to break up the monotony. But those two have honestly been battling for playing time, both Faria and Venuto. So in this game, we put Faria on the left to, because he wanted playing time. He came and he complained and he said, we need playing time, so we gave it to him. Here's Nerwinski on the overlap, sends it in. Faria, big header on the back post. That was an excellent goal. And then San Jose going to get one back in the 51st minute. De Jong off the rebound. Puts it past McGee, who didn't really have much of a chance. And then a foul in the box. And Venuto puts it in for the game winner. So I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do going into these playoffs. Our final game of the year was a 0-0 draw to Philadelphia. Just another frustrating game. So it's going to be sort of wild to see what we do in the playoffs. As for Supporters Shield, we finished 10th. 34 games again. You saw the record there. So that's, again, pretty much middle of the road. I mean, there's 24 teams, so it's a little above mid-table, but still well behind the top of the league. LAFC crushed it this year with 80 points. That's got to be some kind of record. I mean, last year, Houston won it with 69. Atlanta, 73, 72. I don't think anybody's ever had 80 points. That's crazy talk. 25 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses, plus 53 goal differential. But the crazy thing is, Toronto FC kept up with them pretty much as best as anyone could possibly keep up with them with 72 points. In any other year, just about, that would have won the title. 73 was the top other than that. So, great year. Some amazing teams at the top of the league, but the rest of the league, was left behind a little bit. So we'll see. This might be a 2-team race in the playoffs. It might be LA in the West, Toronto in the East, just destined to meet for the title. But we'll see if we can break that up. We do have Houston also to contend with, who is very good this year. And, has given us trouble in the past. Now, as for statistics, we can take a look at some team overviews. Of course, LA and Toronto at the top of the league in goals scored. 34 matches, 80 goals for LAFC. Get out of here. We were tied for 4th with 59, tied with Portland. So it's not a bad year goal scoring for us. It's just compared to the other teams in the league at the top. It's just outrageous the number of goals they scored. Chicago, pretty good. Look at that. We're up there in headers somehow. I don't think we've ever been on this for best heading ratio. So I guess our central defense is getting better at headers. That's good. Best possession, 4th in the league. So we're scoring goals. We're keeping possession. But we're just not dominating the way we should. Most tackles, we're up to 3rd in the league. Again, that's usually a pretty good defensive stat. But we're nowhere near on goals allowed. We're not in the top 8 in goals allowed. So something happened this year. where we gave up a bunch of goals that we probably shouldn't have. If we're dominating possession, if we're scoring goals, if we're tackling, why are we giving up all these goals? It has to be problems with our defense in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not exactly sure what that is. LA, most shutouts this year with 14 shutouts in 34 matches. That's pretty good. Toronto is up there as well. So again, that's 2 great offenses with 2 tremendous defenses as well. Fouls were not on the list. Houston is number 1. Most passes completed. 8th, so we snuck in there at 79%. So maybe that's our problem. Maybe our passing isn't quite as good as it should be. But there's Toronto up there, 2nd place. Most crosses completed, 7th. We're also not usually on this list. So I don't know what's going on. Our crossing game was working pretty good this year. And best at hitting the target, we're not on this list. So not the greatest efficiency in the world, but we did score a bunch of goals. So I guess you can't complain too much. That's we can look at the team stats, I guess, see what's going on here. I don't want this video to take too long. I just want it to be a quick review, and then we'll get to the playoffs. Let's see, what are we looking at here? We're looking for stats, we're looking for competitions, we're looking for league. All right, let's take a look at these here player stats. Most appearances, we had lots of guys out on loan get plenty of experience. Luke McGee, 31 starts this year. So he really took control, really dominated in goal. But, maybe that was the problem. Maybe he needs a little help in goal. I don't know. He's 29 years old now, so he should be okay being a number 1 keeper. Jaguar, next with 23 appearances, had 2 goals, 1 assist, 7.01 rating. That's the other weird thing, is we had so many guys with great ratings because of our passing. Maybe that's like, fool's gold right there. Little false flags going on. Everybody's got these great ratings because we're passing really well, but then, we're giving up these cheap goals somehow. Venuto played an excellent season, 21 starts, 8 goals, 5 assists. 4 players of the match, 7.33. So another excellent season for Venuto. Possibly his last with the club. We've got guys, especially Faria, who needs to be a starter next year. And, Venuto's in the way, honestly. We got Nerwinski at right back. He might be on his way out. I said that before, but he keeps hanging on. 5 assists this year, 7.03 rating, so he played well. Mario Ahmed got maybe a career-high 19 starts. So he was in there quite a bit for Zlatkovic, who was out. He was out a lot this year. We'll look and see how many starts he had. But, mostly for national team, not really for injuries. But, Ahmed, 2 assists, 6.88 rating, sort of okay. Aiden Daniels played a lot, 19 starts. Didn't really produce for us, unfortunately. For a guy, we sort of changed a lot in our team to sort of fit him into the lineup, and he didn't really produce for us. So that could be a problem right there. Julian Dunn, 18 starts. We need to start Dunn more. I think that was one problem with this year. He's our best defender. He needs to be in there more. Tibert dropped to 16 starts, 6 off the bench. He had 3 goals on the season and an assist, 7.17, so he played still fine. Stankovic on the left-hand side, he needs to get more playing time. 8 assists, 7.39 rating, only 16 starts this year. Zlatkovic only 15 starts this year, 2 goals, no assists. Hendricks, leading goal scorer, tied with Darren Sr., 14 appearances, 12 goals. No, he's tied with appearances, not with goals. Anyway, he's our leading goal scorer is what I'm trying to say. 12 goals on 14 starts. He needs to start more. Senior needs to start more. Timoteo, only 14 starts. Cornelius, well, he's okay. Marples, the youngster, 17-year-old, had 13 starts, 4 goals. He's going to need to play more coming up. Faria, only 12 starts this year. So you can see the transition we need to make it next year. All of these young players, they need to start. Sean Hundle, we brought him in, only 11 starts this year, only 2 goals. That was kind of a wasted effort to bring him back from Toronto. Shamit Shom, should be one of the better players on our team. Only started 11 times, got 6 assists, so he needs to play more. We got too many guys who need to play more minutes. So we're going to have to thin this roster out, even though we've got Champions League next year. Maybe we thin it out after Champions League. That could be a goal for next year. Thin the roster out after Champions League. Let's see. We can go through the checklist. We can look at our academy here. Very slim pickings at the academy this year. We're going to have a couple of guys come up next year. Probably, I don't know, maybe McKendry. He's very much a guy who's on the ropes here. He's only 1 star, 5 jumping reach. I don't know. I don't know about this guy. Probably not. George Carmona, another 1-star guy, goalkeeper, 17 years old. Another guy, highly questionable. And then sort of the only surefire guy is Pablo Camilo, center midfielder, but he can kind of play all over the place. So he's versatile. He's only got 8 pace, only 3 jumping reach. He's not really a guy we're looking for. He's mostly Brazilian heritage. He does have Canadian citizenship, though, so in a few years he could become a Canadian. But we don't necessarily need him in a few years, so we might not even bring him up either. We might let all of those guys just leave the academy because we don't really need them, and they'd just be taking up roster spaces. Finances, we're looking okay. $26 million. Had a bit of a down slope this year. $28 million. This season, our profit was in the negatives for the first time in a long time. $1 million in the negative. Board, though, very secure. They're fine and dandy with this year. 60%. Again, not a great year. Not a bad year. Just sort of another year. A skip year, as I mentioned. Captain is still T-Bert. Vice captain is Darren Sr. now. McGee is our key player. Jonas Rosalind, one of the Rosalind brothers, 18-year-old defender, is our hot prospect. Of course, Zebu Jr. Transfers, we didn't do much at the end of the year, if anything at all. We sent a lot of guys out on loan. The only big move was back in June. We let Villalba go to Tigres for $3.8 million, so that helped our finances a little bit. I don't think I even looked at our... Yeah, we got $5.3 million transfer budget. Payroll is still strong. League specific is still strong. We're a little low on salary cap. Only $26,000 in salary cap, so we're going to have to spend some of that general allocation money at some point to buy this down. But we've got $27 million. $27 million. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it in terms of allocation money, so we're fine there. We made some staff moves, but I don't really, we haven't really gone over the staff much. I don't know why we would start now bothering with these guys. So that's about it. We can look at Zebu profile, see how he's doing these days. He's got to be the top coach in terms of talent in MLS. He's definitely overqualified for MLS. He's an outstanding international coach. So, I have gotten offers in the past from a lot of different teams, and I've turned them all down. National teams, Premier League teams, all kinds of stuff. And I've turned them all down to stay here in Vancouver, stay in Canada. Let's see my profile. Is there anything really to look at? I don't think so. Games played 381. Total career earnings $15 million. 9 cup wins, 1 league win. That's pretty good, I guess. It says here 5 cups in 1 league, and then 3 cups. International. 3 international cups. 5 plus 3 does not equal 9, as last I checked. So I don't know where that extra cup is coming from. But, our cup runneth over, I guess. So we played 81 games for Team Canada. We've won 49, drawn 8, lost 24. That's a respectable 60% winning percentage. We'll take that. 188 goals for, 96 against. International goal difference plus 92. We'll take that for sure. Now for Vancouver, look at that. We hit the big 300 mark there, 136. Our winning percentage is a little low, 45%. We need to get that back up towards the 50% range. But, we've had some struggling years with Vancouver here and there. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's going to do it for this. We're going to come back next episode for the playoffs and try to give the playoffs a little bit of room to breathe and try to take them seriously this year. I'd like to try to make a MLS Cup run, but we're going to have to do something drastic and pull ourselves together to do that. So we're going to come back for that next time. So until then, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.